Hey guys, welcome to Los Angeles, where I'm here at the Tom Bradley International Airport, and I'm ready to start the final part of this US trip, going back home to Singapore. It is going to be an absolute marathon journey. It is going to be on the VTL, so those of you who are wondering how that works for a vaccinated Singaporean, keep watching to find out. And now, here I am at Los Angeles. I've done my ART. I'm going to show you how that was done throughout the course of this video. You only need an ART, by the way, if you are vaccinated and Singaporeans. And then I will take you guys on this trip, the 18-hour marathon, directly from Los Angeles to Singapore. Oh boy, in A350 Singapore Airlines economy, it's going to be a tiring one.
Tonight's flight is going to be an 18-hour hop from Los Angeles all the way down to Singapore. It's non-stop, it is direct, and it's on the Singapore Airlines A350-900. Now, this aircraft is one of 6 in the Singapore Airlines fleet and is specially configured to allow it to carry more fuel and complete this journey in a 3-class configuration of business class, premium economy, and economy. I myself would be flying this in economy class, and it would be on the newest A350 in Singapore Airlines fleet, 9V-SJB, delivered only in June of this year. But first, a little bit about the VTL. Now, the VTL only operates from a few countries as of now, and some might be coming in the near future. But to be traveling on the VTL, the vaccinated travel lane, you need to be vaccinated fully, and these vaccines are accepted for you to be considered as such. But if you are not meeting those requirements, you will not be considered fully vaccinated and you won't be able to travel on the VTL. And there's a few other things that you need to be aware of to maintain your vaccination status when you come to Singapore. Now, you also need to hold an accepted proof of vaccination, and that in Singapore obviously applies to these trace together very simply, or if you're coming from the United States, there are a fair few options for you to choose from. You also need to have a travel or transit history in designated VTL areas, and you need to have spent 14 days in those regions. And then if you're traveling on the VTL, if you're a Singapore citizen, you don't need to do anything, same for PRs, but if you're a foreigner, you need to apply for the Vaccinated Travel Pass or the VTP. When flying over, you also need a fair few number of tests and documents that you need to show, one of them being the accepted proof of vaccination that I talked about. You also need a negative pre-departure test, and depending on which region you're coming from, that may be a PCR test or an ART. You also have a valid vaccinated travel pass if you're not a Singapore citizen or a PR that you need, and if you're a short-term visitor, you need a COVID-19 insurance policy as well as a valid visa. My journey started in Austin, Texas, where I'll be staying for a few days before traveling over to Los Angeles, and that's going to be in a separate video. But from Los Angeles to Singapore, I needed to prove to them that I did not have COVID-19, and for that you need either an ART or a PCR, and I opted for the cheaper and less messy and less scary ART, of course. I got it for $69 at Any Labs Test Now in Round Rock, and it was a very quick and efficient method. They even print your passport number on your results slip, and I got it within 10 minutes, and I was in and out, and it was very, very efficient. So I flew into Los Angeles from Austin on United Airlines, which means that I was at Terminal 7, and that meant I had to take an extremely long walk all the way from there to Tom Bradley International Terminal, and that meant walking of about 20 minutes, and I don't think I am that slow of a walker. It was extremely tiring exerting like that, especially in an N95 mask, so I had to stop on the way to take a breather and also have a little bit of a cider and a sandwich. So you can imagine my relief when I finally saw an international aircraft, which meant I was close to my destination of Terminal B. But when I got there, I faced a problem that I definitely did not expect I would have to face. So this is a little bit of a problem for me. Because I came in through Terminal 7 and used the internal walkway, it means I don't have my boarding pass yet. I haven't been able to check in my bag. So I think I need to exit, because right now I'm right. If I go that way, I'll be right at the gate area, and they're not gonna allow me to board the plane without a check of my COVID test or boarding pass for that matter. So I'll need to find my way out and need to go back in all over again. So I'll do that and catch up with you guys. Luckily for me, I found my way out found the exit to ticketing, and was soon on my way to get my boarding pass and check in my bag.
Alright, so I have successfully found my way outside of the airside area, back landside. Now, I need to go check in, find the Singapore Airlines check-in counter, check in, get my boarding pass, put this bag in the check-in area, and then make my way back airside again.
Thankfully, the flight tonight was on time, unlike the inbounds where I had suffered 35-minute delays at Singapore and then another 35-minute delay at Los Angeles. I soon made my way over to the end of the terminal where the seat check-in counters were and walked past the business class line, a little bit jealous that I wasn't going to be traveling in that class, and made my way over to the economy area.
So, just completed check-in. Very quick, very painless, very different from what it was the last time I was here. Last time I was here was in 2018, December, and I was flying back on Cathay Pacific. It was not the standard holiday period, and it really took a long time to get through security, get the check-in, get the boarding pass. Nothing of the sort here. Very quickly done. I showed them my ART. They were thinking that I was getting a PCR test, but because apparently most people get PCR, but I got an ART. So if you're vaccinated in Singapore, that's all you need. Yeah, and then after that, I dropped my bag. You know, we talked a little bit shop about my camera, about my broken microphone. So if you hear any weird noises, that's because of that. And then, of course, I dropped my bag off, got my boarding pass. Gate agent said that I have an empty row as of now, so fingers crossed it stays that way and I get to sprawl out on my flight back home. It's going to be a tough one in Singapore Airlines economy. I'm already exhausted after walking all the way from Terminal 7 to here. Let's see how it goes. I better get in before the security line gets a little too chunky for my taste.
Thankfully, there was no chunkiness of the queue to be had, and it soon cleared security and was back at where I started.
So, back here again, except this time I'm here properly. Got my boarding pass. I've checked in my carry-on bag that I brought. That had to be gate checked, kind of, with a green tag. I'm not sure if that's the correct term. Had to be green tagged from Austin here to Los Angeles. Walked all the way here, made my way to this part before I was finally able to get out, get my boarding pass, check in, and give my bag and get back here again. So it took me about an hour, but it's really been my own issues because of the broken shock mount for the mic. It might be causing some audio issues, hopefully not, but yeah, that's what took most of the time, repairing it. Security was a breeze, 5 minutes through. Check-in was even less, maybe 2 minutes of process. So very happy with Tom Bradley International today. And now I can head to my gate, chill out a little bit, and get ready for this marathon 18-hour journey.
Before I made my way to my gate, I had to do some plane spotting and saw these two 777s from Swiss and British Airways getting ready for departure. Despite the lack of traffic that night, and despite the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, it didn't really seem that Tom Bradley International Terminal really cared, because many of these big shops I saw were fully open and staffed as well, and in the eateries I did see a fair few people sitting around and grabbing their dinners a little bit late as well.
So here I am, guys, at the gate. You can see our aircraft is waiting for us over there, 9VSJB. And I've finally been able to sit down. It has been incredible. I have had to walk all the way from Terminal 7 while wearing the N95 mask. Not been easy. Very hard to breathe with that, so that's a little bit frustrating. But the frustration got compounded when I got here to gate, so now recording in 4K is obviously very hard on the camera battery, so I was deciding, okay, let's charge everything before we get inside of the plane, so hopefully we don't run out of battery there. But of course, LAX Airport had something special in store. I tried multiple USB power outlets to finally find one that works. I think I tried 4, but that's not all. I tried multiple AC power outlets, of course. I tried like 8 of them and finally found one that works. But unfortunately, that one isn't at the seat, so they can't make things easier. So my battery is charging over there. But my laptop, which I really wanted to charge as well, with AC power, is charging over there. So that's a little bit annoying. Split in two different places. And one more thing, you know, the surprises, or rather the disappointments from LAX keep on coming. This is an international terminal. You would think that they would have universal power outlets, but nope. I mean, why possibly would anyone want power outlets other than the US ones? So you still have to use an adapter here, unlike in Changi where you can just plop in literally any power outlet you want, power plug you want. Yeah, so that is the state of things here at Los Angeles. Hopefully I know Singapore Airlines is going to be a lot better than this experience, and hopefully can wash me off this LAX experience again. Last time I came here with Cathay was a terrible experience. So far, this has not been much better as well, so we'll see how it goes.
While this queue did seem a little bit intimidating at first, it was really all the passengers that would be boarding the aircraft, just about 50% of the aircraft load, which made us a very light aircraft to fly. Boarding was done in groups and was very much orderly, and I soon found myself making my way into the plane for the next 18 hours. There were earplugs available, as well as a water bottle and a sanitary kit with a surgical mask, hand sanitizer and antiseptic wipes. But I chose not to take any of them because I already had what I needed.
Hi, welcome aboard, sir.
Hello.
Now this would be a nice place to spend 18 hours in a plane in. Alternatively, you could of course go for the extra legroom seats here in rows 47 or 48, but they do come at an extra cost. Soon, however, I'd found my seat in row number 60, and as the gate agent had said, it was completely free. The flight attendants were very proactive in asking whether passengers wanted pillows and blankets for the journey ahead, and soon we started our pushback well on time as we saw a fair few other international tails parked at Tom Bradley. But I'm gonna leave you with the glorious sounds of the A350 engine starting up to begin this journey.
Electronic devices, such as laptops, must be stowed for taxi, takeoff, and landing. During these times, charging your electronic devices is also not allowed.
So as we got underway, I thought it was time to show you guys the features of the seat. It's got a headrest that you can adjust up and down. It's got flaps on the left side and the right side that can hold your head in place if you need to sleep while upright. The seat also has a generous amount of recline, as the neighbor in front of me very unhelpfully but somewhat usefully showed in his recline, despite having a full row just as I did. The seat has the call buttons as per normal, the light buttons as well, a USB and the 3.5mm jacks. It's supposed to have a contactless payment reader. It's also got a phone holder, but that is too small for my phone and most modern phones, I think. It's got a cup holder as well. You got the standard two-phase tray that you can slide out. You can flip it up as well. There is an extra dimple for you to hold your drink here if you so please. They even have a mirror over here if you want to adjust your hair a little bit quickly, or on any of your makeup as well. And you can obviously flip it down for full and slide it towards you when you want to have your meal. Slide it back, fold it up, and everything is set. And it's a very nice seat indeed, and it's got a ginormous screen to boot with as well. Very responsive as well, and as you can see, look at the size of it compared to my palm outstretched. It's way bigger than that, and that is more than you'll need. And the entertainment system as well, Chris's system, is very, very robust. It's got a very deep selection of movies, TVs, and while it does show live TV over there, it didn't quite have that as well. Music, podcasts, and even some games are available over here. But you know what really I like to do in a flight is watch the in-flight map. There are a fair few features over here in the in-flight map. You can see your entire path from top to bottom, or you can also see in a little bit of the window / cockpit view where you can get information on your aircraft's attitude, altitude, and airspeed, as well as any wind that might be affecting it. You also have a search system here available if you want to just directly go to any of your potential shows or movies you want to watch, and it's very useful because the catalog is so freaking big that you're gonna need to use the search function to find things quickly. What I was a little bit unsure of, however, was this camera. I'm not sure what its feature is, and I don't know why it's here. The seat back pockets are also very useful. You can see they're compartmentalized, which means that you're not going to lose all the items in one giant abyss. And you can see I used it very nicely to section off my things. And it's also got the big seat pocket with a little bit of your seat back literature. It also has a universal power outlet over there, and it was functioning in the flight. And this seat, of course, has tons of leg room, which is really more than you're gonna need, even if you don't have a full empty row, as I didn't on my journey from Singapore to Los Angeles. We were also hit by a strong patch of turbulence while leaving Los Angeles, which happens when you're flying over a mountainous region, but thankfully the turbulence ended just as we started our meal service. Now about the meal service, you can see these are the menus. They don't give the paper menus anymore, they don't print those. Instead, everything is on your phone, and you can connect to the in-flight Wi-Fi for free to look at the menus, but if you want to use it otherwise, you'll need to pay. Now, the food itself was very good. I went for the salmon and pasta option, and the tomato sauce was really very good, but I have to criticize the salmon a little bit. As good as it did look, it was a little bit dry, and I think it could have done with a little bit more juices inside. But it also came with the standard ice cream. I got a coffee for myself as well, and there was a standard roll. And what I was really happy to see was that Singapore Airlines is still persisting with metal cutlery. I then settled in to watch the stars, of which there were really very many, and it was an absolutely gorgeous sight throughout the night. There are a fair few in-flight Wi-Fi options available. If you're a KrisFlyer member in Premium Economy and Economy class, then you get a 2-hour chat session optimized for text messaging only, such as WhatsApp, WeChat, Facebook Messenger, or even Telegram. But if you're a business class or a PPS Club member or a supplementary card holder, then you get 100 MBs of Wi-Fi. However, if you're in suites or in first class, then you get unlimited complimentary Wi-Fi. You also have 2 hours of extra Wi-Fi enabled for now until 31 December 2021, and this one is super fast and full speed and allows you to even stream videos. Otherwise, you have the option to pay. There is $3.99 for a chat session for 2 hours, 100 MB for $9.99, premium 200 MB for $16 effectively, and then surf for $16 as a time-based session. You also have the option for in-flight texting via SMS and data roaming if you are a Singtel, StarHub, or M1 customer. While working, I was also feeling a fair bit hungry, and I went for the classic cup noodle snack. Then eventually I was ready to sleep on Singapore time, and I settled in my full row for a nap. However, I was woken up for a very delicious breakfast with sweet and sour fish and bihun, and it also came with a standard roll as well as a Greek yogurt. But it was a very weird timing. It was at 3:50 AM in local time, and it was served at Los Angeles breakfast time rather than in Singapore time, which I was a little bit annoyed by. But eventually the sun started coming up, and it went from blue to white to bright as we started our descent into Singapore. But once we hit Singapore, you could see it was grey and cloudy, typical of Singapore weather, and it was pretty rainy as we started our approach. So, thoughts on Singapore Airlines 18 hours from Los Angeles to Singapore in economy? Absolutely a thumbs up from me, even if I cheated a little bit by getting a full row to myself. Pro tip for that one, seat yourself at the back of the plane, especially if you're a solo traveler, because they fill the plane up from front to back. Otherwise, I really like the food over here, even if the meal timings were a little bit awkward. I really like the flight, I really like the service, of course, of Singapore Airlines, and I really just enjoyed myself over here and didn't feel like it was 18 hours. Very comfortable, very nice, and I would definitely do it again, especially for just 1,000 Singapore dollars for a round trip. Soon after, we had disembarked, very orderly of course and very quickly, and I was making my way over to see what was in store for me on this VTL arrival flight. Immediately before the immigration area, there are a set of instructions for you to follow, and you absolutely have to follow this one for the e-health declaration card, and all Singaporeans, PRs and foreigners must fill this alike. There are 4 simple steps you need to do. Clear the immigration, collect your bags, take the on-arrival PCR test, and then leave the airport to wherever you're supposed to be going. And if you're taking some time with the health declaration, you can sit here and do it with some assistance. Soon after, I collected my bags and I was on my way to leave the airport and get myself back home. So going forward, the PCR test is fairly simple. You leave the bag claim area and you turn right and you walk all the way outside of the terminal, and then after that you walk back in after your test and you go to one of the usual pickup points. And pretty much that is it. Once you have done your PCR test, they will let you know within 6 to 24 hours in your email. And if your COVID test is negative, you can end your isolation just like I did, and you can go out wherever you like, enjoy the sights and sounds of Singapore. Hope you enjoyed my video. If you liked, please comment, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. In the meantime though, welcome to Singapore.